Hey, welcome back to the Crossroads Commercial Real Estate Podcast. This is our 7th episode. We've taken a little bit of a hiatus, but I'm super excited to be back. Just chatting about our year because it's jam-packed full of so much work, family, fun stuff, and growth. And just wanted to kind of end the year with Jenna because it has been a year since she's joined our team. So excited to have you.
Yeah, it's crazy how quickly time flies by. So
Yes.
when you're busy.
Yes, it does. I guess the purpose of this is, we have grown so much and you've grown so much. And obviously it's been a year since you've been here and joined the team, and you have Wyoming license plates now. So you're officially officially a Wyomingite. So I'd love to talk a little bit about like your year in review, and then it'll be really casual today. Just kind of chatting about all the good stuff.
Yeah. I know I was on the podcast, it's been probably 6 or 8 months ago, so a lot has changed. It all kind of, I've been reflecting a lot since it has been a year now, just kind of how I got here. And I feel like it was really just all meant to be, and it all just kind of fell into line when I met you. And I'm just so grateful now reflecting on how crazy of a year it has been, how much I've learned. Each day I feel like I'm just taking in more information and just becoming more confident. And I remember talking on the last podcast, just kind of, I think you had asked me something along the lines of like, how are you feeling? What are you struggling with? Things like that. And those things that I had brought up, I feel like those are just like everyday simple things now. So it's just kind of cool to see things that I was like really scared of, I have accomplished with your help and with Rob's help and just the guidance of that. I think this year definitely has exceeded any expectation I could have ever put, because I had no idea. I mean, I didn't know the market in Wyoming. I didn't know what real estate was going to be like. I didn't know how hard it was going to be, and sometimes how easy transactions can be. So I think this year has just been, it's been really great, and I'm really excited about the future and what that holds, and to just keep kind of chugging along. So
I feel like I'm having deja vu because you are sitting in my seat like a year into my real estate career.
Yeah.
And all the things that you're saying is exactly how I felt. Mm-hmm. And so it's a good perspective for me to remember, especially if you're working in like a real estate team, mm-hmm. because that can get convoluted and some people don't know how to do that successfully. And mm-hmm. so I think I was reflecting yesterday on just like my 5 years in real estate, and really, if you could do like a graph chart, I was always growing, mm-hmm. and you think you're growing a lot faster than you are or slower than you are at times. And I think it's just been a good, steady uphill. Mm-hmm. And I haven't really had, we're very blessed with the team that we have. I haven't had a lot of dips, but that's because the foundation was kind of laid before. Mm-hmm. And so I love hearing that. I actually haven't been able to ask you, just like, if you would be looking at yourself a year from now, would you have expected to be where you are today in the real estate when you first got hired?
No way.
Yeah.
Like I just had no idea what that looked like. And I also didn't know, I've always been a team player, like kind of to go back about the team thing. And I just didn't know what that would look like in a business setting though, because I had worked just corporate jobs where it's kind of a team thing, but it's not the same whatsoever compared to this. But yeah, I honestly didn't know what to expect. So it's hard.
It's interesting because you worked for a branch or division of Kroger, that's kind of the same branch that I worked for, just in a different department. But you do, in each corporate, there's a team or an area, but you have levels of where you can be, and then there's always a top, mm-hmm. right? There's a ceiling.
Totally.
And in real estate, I feel like there is not a ceiling. Mm-hmm. And before we were actually hopping on the podcast, we were talking about the fact that once you get to a point in your business where you can't physically and mentally take on any more, and you lose the integrity of what you're doing, that's a really good sign. Well, you don't want to get there, first mm-hmm. of all. You want to recognize that before if you can. But that's definitely a measurable time when you can say, okay, it's time for me to either stay where I'm at, mm-hmm. or continue to grow. But that mindset has to shift from an individualized mindset to a team. So lucky for me, that was already kind of, again, that groundwork was laid before me. But you have to be kind of willing to start at ground level, and negotiate the terms of how you're comfortable living that first year, with the mindset there'll be growth opportunities. And I think how I was brought into a team was, there was always a minimum that I could expect all the time. But there was an opportunity kind of dangled in front of me. Like, hey, we're going to give you this. Let's see if you can get it. Yeah. And if you can keep doing that, then that's like free extra for you.
Extra. And you just have no idea the potential of that until you hit this level that you've never been at. And then the next year, let's say you double that or whatever it is. And it's just kind of mind blowing, I think.
You're hitting right at the year mark. You've received your first official almost $1 million listing, which is incredible.
I know. It's crazy.
Congratulations.
I'm really excited about that. But again, I think it's important to keep the mindset of like, I wouldn't have had this great of a year if I didn't join your team. Yeah. You and Rob's team and the Graham Group's team. And so sometimes you need that help. And it is I could see, like, if I just knew I wanted to go into real estate and I either could join a team and I wasn't going to potentially make as much money, let's say, or I could go on my own, I could see that being a really hard decision for some people when you look at just the money. But when you take the money aspect out of it and kind of look in like a growth mindset, it really is going to actually serve you more long term. And you're going to learn way more. You're going to be a better agent quicker. There's so many positives to it. So I think I just continue to remind myself of that as well throughout this past year.
Yeah. And like, again, we've talked about this a ton of times with Coldwell Banker or even whatever brokerage you're choosing to do. There's some sort of a team aspect that surrounds that. But truly, the team we're talking about is just such an intimate, way more involved day-to-day operational team. And I think it's just important to understand that, like, there is so much value to that that it's hard to put a dollar on. And so it's exciting to see, like, where you're at and how you've embraced that. One of the very first things that was kind of the expectation when I was hired was we want to be able to just know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but you're doing more than we're asking to at all times. And honestly, for I don't want to say a creative brain, but you have a very creative brain as well. That's like free reign.
Oh, totally.
Which can be good and bad, but you just go, okay, well, I can like rework this system, or this works for me. And you've kind of created your own system. And honestly, I've learned a lot just watching you create a system and how you operate. So it's always a learning experience, I think, for someone else. Rob said today when we were doing the marketing for the Chiba Hut, he's like, I'm really good at just hiring
the talent,
and then I just kind of get out of the way.
Which is such a leadership role, which is perfect for him.
Yes. Yeah. And I think I try to do that a little bit. Like, obviously there's this, when you're growing, there's a really there's a transitional piece that feels like work. Yeah. Double work. Yeah. And it is. But I think that's like that special time and that really hard time is so crucial because you're asking the questions that maybe we wouldn't. I remember you asking, like, just, what is this? Yeah, well, what is this deadline? Or why do we do it this way? Or why would you use language that way? And when you're in something, or even any job for, a long period of time, you forget why you did it that way. And so I think it's a good reminder for the leadership role as well to take a step back, not really dumb it down, but like go through the steps, not just the motions, and explain why. Yeah.
Because you just get in such a routine of it.
And you don't know why you do it. You just know that that's the way that you do it. And so it actually helped me to refresh, like, okay, I didn't do this very well when I first started, but this is why we do it. And I want to make sure that you do it really well and you do it right. And now you have implemented that into your process and has made my life 1,000 times easier. So
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. What has it been like for you? I know, like, obviously Rob was your main mentor 5 years ago. Now that you've been my mentor really for a year, like, what was that like this past year for you? You know, I think you kind of touched on it a little
Honestly,
bit. Honestly,
the growth part was like the growing pains were a little bit challenging for me because, you know, not only was I balancing business, but I was managing
an extra time and
homework balance, and then also continuing to serve your clients because I think that's what we do really well, and we try to do that with integrity, honesty, and just really focusing that. So it was hard because the time was just there wasn't a lot of it. But for me, again, stepping back, it was important for me to realize why I did that and how to do that. And I feel really proud because you do business the exact same way that I do business. But just your own spin on it. And so I think that every client that we've had has not only ranted and raved about how you've taken care of them, which is, you know, in my own mind, you know, it's a pat on the back for me. It's a pat on the back for Rob. It's just like, it's a trickle effect.
It's just all of us.
100%. And it has allowed us to do so much more. It's actually given me time back to my own family and my kids. And so I think it's one of those things where we were at before you came, we didn't know how it was going to, or what it was going to look like. We just knew we had to do something else, or at least it was something recognizable for me, because I think
you were trying to do it all. I mean, you're trying to be a mom.
And there's going to come a time for you too, when you almost feel like, when I got to that space, it was kind of like I had failed a little bit, because I'm like, I can't do all of this. And that point becomes like, have I failed as a leader, or what I could do, because I was taking that role on because I want to do a good job for the one before me. And even before him. And so you just kind of feel a personal responsibility to that. And so when you go to hire that next person, you're kind of like, dang, like I can do all of that stuff. So please don't feel like you have to, but there is a really good feeling about being able to let go and let go to somebody that you know is going to take care of it the exact same way that you would.
Or at least ask you a question. If they
so
don't
I just
know
feel a lot
what's
of pride.
going on.
Honestly, I just feel a lot of pride. And I feel like it's just going to continue. And there will be a day when you're going to need that as well. And maybe that looks different for everyone. And then I think the other aspect of that for a team is like, how do we compensate for that? And then there's the money logistics part of that. And we've all been very open communicatively about that. I don't even know if that's a word, communicatively.
It is now.
So I think it's just one of those things where if everybody's on board and it works and is good for the team, then it's a great move.
Yeah, totally. I think whenever it comes to money, as hard as it is, and we've had this conversation a lot, just to kind of put it all out there and say what your thoughts are and talk it through is the best thing you can do. Because if you just are kind of quiet about it and something's bothering you for a long time, it never ends up good in the end. So I think that's super important with the team dynamic. But for anyone that's listening to this, I just feel like it could potentially give you the motivation if you've been thinking about needing to expand or something like that, because I've gone on a trip with Bailey's whole family and like had dinners and things like that. And like, even your husband is just like, thank you for joining the team, because like we got a part of our like wife and mom back, you know, like she was just so busy, and she's going to put her all into everything. And so it's just kind of refreshing to know that I've made an impact, not only in like your business world, but like in your family world. And I think that's all you could ever want is, at least for me personally, like I love to have a deeper connection than just a business one, I think, for certain people. I think it works. So, I've just been grateful that I've been able to give you some time back and take stuff on.
It's crazy. It's full circle. And who knows, in 2 years, you might be saying the same thing to whoever you hire. So, and truly the long term of that, because there's a short term solution, and then there's also a long term solution. When we hired you, we knew that this probably wasn't a long term solution for us. Maybe it will be. Maybe that'll change, but I think it's something that we just needed to figure out how it was going to work. And then, things change, life happens. And if you guys choose to make a different direction, we know the potential. So your role's always like, there's going to be a place for someone like that. And you could continue to keep doing that. So I think it's just fun to see the year in review, and then the team aspect of that. other than that, we've just had a really great...
That's what I was going to say. We should jump into just kind of the
year.
Yeah,
just like a really great year. You know, we started... quarter one in real estate can sometimes be slower. You know, and we talk a lot about commercial. We do a lot of residential. Jenna actually has basically taken on most of our residential. She does property management as well for like our commercial clients. But in that, quarter one was always really our slowest time. Last year was different, and I don't know if that was like just a one-time thing, but it just kind of continued to... It was wild.
Down.
Like we would have conversations, and I'm like, I don't know how we're doing what we're doing.
You're like, this never has happened.
This has never happened. And so I think it was just when you come into any sort of business ground level, I think your expectation of year one is kind of ignorant is bliss.
Yeah.
You have no idea what to expect. And they truly say that, you know, and during COVID, we had a lot of agents that was just like, it was easy money.
Yeah.
You know, they were coming
in.
I
see those reels all the time.
Yeah, you didn't have to work. People were buying houses no matter what, and things were going like bananas. That transition fell off, and those agents are gone. So truly, it took me until year 3 to build up. And I'm from Wyoming, and I actually know a lot of people in Cheyenne. I didn't grow up here, but it took me about 3 years to build like an actual clientele.
Yeah.
And then after that, it just started to... That's when we got really busy, and I couldn't handle it. I could handle it. I just
because you were doing commercial, and then you were getting like
not very well
all these residential things too.
And so we made that change, and then it's just been like, let's fly. And so that has been like, that's kind of what this year has been jam-packed full of. And it's looked like anything from small leases in commercial to building sales to bringing new businesses like the Chiba Hut. Rob was able to secure them. But again, tying everything together, it opened up an opportunity for me to step away from residential, which is what I wanted to do because my heart is in commercial, and that's where I would like to grow and continue to get better, but still stay in
relevant in kind of all areas.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
And so I think that's probably the next step for you, is to just kind of grow into all fields and then be able to pick a path that you feel is appropriate for the long term for yourself. But yeah, quarter one was slow. Notoriously, it didn't happen that way. And so we just kind of did, we just kind of flowed every single month for that. And then talk on a bigger picture scale, what you've been able to do to open up for me has allowed me to take on more so that Rob and Ben could take on something bigger. And this year they closed one of the largest transactions that Cheyenne's ever seen for commercial real estate, which was unbelievable. 6 months in the making, a lot of hard, a lot of sleepless nights. But that would, I truly don't believe that would not have happened had we not made a hire at the. No,
because that was Rob and Ben. That was their whole thing for 6 months.
Yep.
And
it allowed me to take care of like some of the transactional parts of that and just let them focus on the meat and potatoes of that deal.
What they're really good at.
Yeah. And I think that is just, it's really cool to see when that works the way that you think it's supposed to work. And we've had hard deals too. We've had some fall completely apart.
Yeah. Which it's been good for me to see that the first year. I've kind of seen a little bit of everything. And I'm glad, like you said earlier, I feel like we work very similarly. And so the way that you handle situations, like I'm always asking like, okay, like what would you say in this situation? How would you handle this? Because that's how I learn. And it's been really great to learn from somebody who I'm like, okay, that makes complete sense. That's how I would want to say it. So yeah, it's been good because there is difficult conversations to be had. And I think the biggest thing I've learned from you is in real estate, obviously there is, especially in residential, there's so much emotional conversations and just situations that you have to deal with and kind of help your clients through. But at the end of the day, you almost do have to remove that emotion and just give them the black and white of this is what the numbers come down to or whatever it is when those difficult conversations come up. So yeah, that's something I've learned over the past year, and just with me wanting to always help everybody, and I have so much empathy for people. It was a hard transition, but it's beneficial in the end for everybody involved. So
yep. Yeah, I mean, I still think that sometimes the hardest transactions that I do are for people I know intimately. So really close family and friends. And, you know, you want to do an overly good job for them, but you also feel deeply for them because you know their background, their history. Yeah. And so anytime I do have like a residential or something, I'm always reminded that like to just check myself and make sure that I'm doing the best for them, but also showing empathy in times that need to be shown. Yeah, it's been really, I mean, truly we've had a really great year. And
every year, like you were just telling me, and when we were kind of having conversations to kind of go back to the beginning, I just remembered this. We had like jumped on a Zoom call and...
Or are you talking about when I've hired you?
Yes. Like going way back, I remember asking you like, what does this look like? Like,
because when I sold you and Mason your house, are you talking, did we have a separate Zoom after that?
Yes. So like...
You're right.
We didn't move up here for a while and it was kind of like up in the air and like, I was waiting to like, for sure, make sure that it made sense before I started taking the classes. And so we jumped on a Zoom call and I just kind of asked you.
You sent me your resume.
Yeah. And I was like, can you just... Like, you don't have to share numbers with me necessarily, but, like, I just don't know what I'm jumping into. I mean, like, what does this look like? And I remember you telling me, like, you know, I made whatever this first year, then I doubled it, then I did this. And it's like, it's as much as you want to work, and it's those connections that you make, and it's how good you are at your job, and you just build it, and there's not really a limit to it. And I'm just like, what? How can that happen? Like, how can you just go from this corporate job, whatever, you only make X amount, and then you jump into this and you potentially make way more money than you've ever made, and it's all up to you. I was just like, okay, like, I think I can do this, but now being in here the first year is done, I'm like, it all makes sense. Like, everything that you said was true. And so it's been kind of cool to see that, and to see you grow so much too just motivates me as well, to just kind of know the potential down the line. You know?
Well, don't sell yourself short, because so not only do we work well together business wise, but obviously I felt like a good connection to you and I don't take those like hires, like I put a lot of thought into that, and it's not taken lightly. And so I knew whoever that we hired needed to be able to be trusted and had like, you know, we talk about doing business the cowboy way in Wyoming. Yeah. Integrity, honest, do what you say. You know, we still believe in handshake deals, although in real estate, you should always put it on paper. But that does happen still. And so when I made that decision, I knew that you would be very close to my family, and not you just specifically, anybody that I hired, because you'd have to get to know my kids, my schedule. Like, it's just a very intimate trust thing. Yeah. And so that has, you know, I definitely feel like that, you know, it was the perfect scenario, and it's just continued to evolve into a great situation. So when I was able to go to your wedding, we went to Oregon and went to your wedding, which Oregon is beautiful. If you haven't been, you should go. Not really sure why you're living in Wyoming.
And Bailey loved, if you know Bailey at all, she loved that there was no sales tax there. She could do as much shopping as she wanted.
That's right. So. Yeah. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But anyways, it was really fun to see your family and just the background that you had come from. But, you know, your family, especially your dad, who has knowledge of real estate, and, you know, dads always want to see their little girls succeed. Yeah. He's like, I knew she would do great at this, but it's really refreshing to hear everything that I knew about her is true. Yeah. Because there was so many speeches too at the wedding. Yeah. But and that's something that I miss, because you are so family oriented, and I am too, but obviously my family isn't super close. My mom's like 2 hours and my sister's 2 hours away. So that's really nice. But I love that you were able to be a part of my family that day, you know, and really see it and be involved, because I think that's something that is super important, to get to know somebody like really deeply too. Yeah. So it was so fun. It's super fun. And again, Oregon was beautiful. It was completely different than Wyoming, but it was a fun trip. So I'm glad we were able to do that. And we try to take that aspect in like all of the team itself. And so, you know, while we celebrate, you know, our wins transactionally, we try to celebrate that outside and bring that team and family aspect. And that's something, again, that was like before me. You know, we do that with big things. And so we try to do that. And we're, you know, going to celebrate something this year and do something around Christmas. And we always try to get together as a team. But again, family first. Rob's favorite line is, you know, we're young. If we don't eat, our kids don't eat.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we just take that mindset and just kind of run with it. And, you know, we'll work hard as long as we can.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I agree.
I'm excited for you.
It's going to be really exciting. I'm excited to see what the next years bring for all of us. And I think it's important, too, something that we'll kind of maybe close it up after this.
Yeah.
But, like, I just want to say one thing is that even though I haven't been in this industry for that long, something that I was reminded of the other day, my mom was like, it sounds weird, but she was telling me about, she went to this guy's funeral and his eulogy, like all these eulogies, or people that came up and talked about him was just like that he was present and he was always there for people. And like, he never had his priorities not in line. And I was like, I kind of needed that reality check. I feel like in this business, you're just go constantly. And there's so much to do and you can always find work to do. And sometimes I need like that reality check of like, okay, what is like number one for me and like how do these align? And I think that keeps you not only humble, but like it just keeps you connected to the people that matter in your life and make sure that you don't kind of like lose touch with them. And, you know, so kind of back to the family dynamic and just making that really important. But for anybody that's wanting to get into real estate, just something that I feel like is good to check in every 6 months or something with yourself and kind of reevaluate your goals and your values and things like that so that ultimately you can be more successful and just a better person.
Yeah.
As time goes on. So
it's a great way to close it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll continue to do this. And if we don't see you before next year, we'll be back.
You'll see us after.
Yeah, 2026.